Now, I've gone to open mics where people, get up there and they're really vain and they say, if anybody has tape recorders in the audience, please turn them off. I do not want you to get my great song. So I pull out a pencil and paper and they start playing and I jot down. And they come over and they say, what are you doing? And I say, well, here, I just scored your whole song. And I hand it to them and they look at it and they don't know how to read music in most cases. They don't know what they're looking at. They can't appreciate it. But they go, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do that. And I said, yeah, you can make me turn off my tape recorder, but you can't make me turn off my mind. What kind of an idiot are you? You're playing in public. I mean, you're playing in public and you want to keep it to yourself. Trust me, I ain't going to copy you, but there are people in the world smart enough to just write out what you're doing in real time, okay? Get with the program. So this is the way I learned how to do this. By using these code words and just getting a pencil and paper and then thinking of a set of code words in my head and then tapping it out, filling it in, boom. Now another thing is, when we do band jams and rhythm jams, which we're going to do later on this evening, it is really good for you to sit with a pencil and paper, or I like to use these little index cards, and all I do is take my pencil and I write out a simple rhythm for myself. Lay it on the ground, look at it, and then just start jamming them. And when you do these rhythm jams that we do, it's best to stick to one rhythm and just turn it on or turn it off or get it loud or get it soft, so we don't have 85 people doing 85 different rhythms simultaneously. Every hippie party I've ever went to, everyone wants to bang on the drum all at once, and the problem is it turns into a cacophony of noise in which you really can't appreciate. If people took turns, or just 3 or 4 people played at a time, and then one left, dropped out and someone else came in, then you wouldn't get this big muddy sound that just makes it impossible to actually hear everyone. So the biggest thing that I can tell you in music is less is more. Okay? Less is more. Now sometimes if I ask you to play something that's established and then maybe have an alternate, so then what you do is you write out 2 simple rhythms. And you play one and you use that a lot until everyone in the circle here can hear it. And they can hear it and they can kind of know, oh, I know what rhythm he's doing, and then I'll make sure that I don't play one like that. I'll make up my own. And then somewhere through the improvisation, you might switch to the other rhythm. And then switch back. So you have 2 rhythms that you can switch between. Any more than 2, you're really muddying up the water. Really, really muddying up the water. Anyone who's done 4-track recording, and any of you who want to go out and get yourself a 4-track recorder and try this, you just simply tap on a simple rhythm, and then on the next track, do it again, another one, and another one, another one, and if you're playing on all the beats all the time, by the time you get to the 4th track, you can't hear anything except all the time. Okay? So the real secret for composers is, as my teacher once told me, he said, this is the most important tool that you have as a composer. This side lets you jot down a whole lot of things that might be interesting to your head, but this side, the eraser, is the most important tool. Because then you get rid of all the stuff that you thought of intellectually and only keep the notes that you feel in your heart. So then this eraser gives you integrity. This part, anyone can do that. This part gives you integrity. So you write a whole bunch of stuff, and then you go and erase things and balance it until it's just, you don't want to overspice your food, right? So people just pile ketchup onto their ice cream. Okay, so same here. Now, another very important thing in music then is the eraser. This is arrest. And here's the thing about arrest. Arrest is not passive. It's not something that doesn't happen. When you're not making sound, that sound of silence should be as loud as any note that you make. So in this workshop, what we do is we clap our hands to make sounds, or shake a percussion instrument. But when we want to denote silence, we just move our hands without clapping, or we do a gesture. So the silence still has some life or some activity in it. And that helps everyone else that's watching you keep the thing going. They see that life, they feel that activity, And even though we don't hear any sound, there's life force happening within that sound. This is the difference between beating out something or counting it and the groove. Musicians talk about the groove. My heart is pulsing, 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 and putting out all kinds of beats. But when I feel my pulse, I actually feel the pressure of the blood going through my blood vessels, okay? That's the difference between a beat and a pulse. And the pulse is the groove, not the beat. So I can intellectually think about a beat. It does nothing. But if I get it in my body, and I start feeling it, and I try to dance, or I try to sing, then all of a sudden it becomes a whole body thing, or body kinesthetic. Actually, there's a word for it, isn't there?
Isometric.
No, it's not isometric. There's a word in music, and they're called isotonic.
Isotonic.
Yeah, I'll think of it another time. But eurythmics is another word that people use for that. And that is where you actually get your body to move and dance and things like that in some kind of a groove, and then add instrumentation and then add singing. Okay, now let's try this one more time. You ready for Tarzan, alligator, or drum? I'll give it to you twice. Again. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan. Okay. Again. Drum, alligator, alligator, Tarzan. Da-da. Okay. Now, for those of you who are beginners, I suggest you only use these code words in the jam sessions that we're going to have. Now, for you people who were here last week, we have what we call composites. What you could do is take the first part, or the downbeat of the Tarzan, and then take the 2-beat thing here with alligator and put it together to create what we call tar-gator, tar-gator. So here's Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, alligator, or I can do tar-gator, tar-gator, tar-gator. Got that? Or I can do Alazan, Alazan, Alazan. The reverse of that would be tar-gator, gator, tar-gator, tar-gator, gator, tar-gator. This one, Alazan, Alazan. You see that one kind of marches, doesn't it? Alazan, Alazan, Tarzan, Alazan, 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 Tarzan, drum. Alazan, Alazan, Tarzan, drum. Alazan, Alazan, drum, drum. Can you hear that? Okay. So this is how we, now for those of you who've been here for a while, I'm going to throw out here a bunch of